Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski. I am your co-host from the East Coast. That's the co-host with the most from the coast with the most. Here on The Rundown, 2A views, conservative news, and Craig, guess what day it is?
Hump Day!
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
That's right, folks. This is the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend, sometimes with success, sometimes not, but nonetheless, the fun is in the trying.
That's it. Here we are. Start the weekend today. Hump Day, Hump Day. And Craig, I feel a little remiss that yesterday during Taco Tuesday we didn't mention it was actually National Taco Tuesday. So my apologies to National Taco Tuesday Day.
I know, and Taco Tuesday, National Taco Day fell on Taco Tuesday. Now, do they always do it on Taco Tuesday? Is it the first Tuesday in October, or was the fourth? Did National Taco Day just happen to fall on Taco Tuesday?
You know, Craig, those are all good questions.
Something that I could probably Google, but why? I think the fun in that one is in the not knowing.
Yeah, I was going to wait till I got to a library and look at an encyclopedia.
But dude, isn't that the world we live in right now? Like, you ever sit there and you're watching a movie and like, where do I know that actor from? Right? And normally you're just like, you can spitball just off the top of your head. No one really knows who you're talking to. No one really knows if you're correct or not, because you can't just hop on your phone and look it up.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? I'm telling people yesterday, there was a time period where if we were all sitting around the table and somebody said, "Hey, who was William Howard Taft's vice president?" And you're like, "I don't know." You just didn't know. You just had to settle with not knowing. It was it.
Or you just made stuff up.
Oh yeah, the Cliff Clavins of the crowd. Yeah. Exactly right, yeah.
See, really, the way that works is, yeah, but sometimes the made up stuff is a lot more interesting than the actual truth.
I would never do that to people, though. Make stuff up and tell them it's the truth.
Never, ever,
nope, never.
Never.
Well, maybe a little bit. That's a lot.
Maybe a little bit. If it's in the name of fun and or being funny.
Oh yeah, listen. No, you got comedy time bombs. I love my comedy time bombs. You tell somebody something and thinking it's an inane little thing, and 3 months later they use that fact and just get what the world are you doing? They're just little comedy time bombs.
You gotta love that stuff. Gotta love that stuff. All right. Speaking though of things that are facts, our sponsors are the bomb, and I think it's time that we make sure that our audience knows exactly who they are.
That's right. Let's talk about our good friends over at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. Odds are if you got an AR in the past 5 years, you probably have one of their barrels already, but now you could buy from them direct for your next build or replace the barrel you have in your current rifle. Hitmanindustries.net. Our good friends out at the California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Make sure you visit them and lend a hand. And, of course, if you want some awesome tactical gear, some cool tactical gear, some necessary tactical gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks, as I explain every day. Look, they bring us to you in hopes that we will bring you to them, which means take a moment, click on the link to their website, which is in the description of this program. Check them out. If you like what you see, kick down some cash. Also, make sure you tell them that the guys over at The Rundown sent ya. Also, make sure, if you haven't already done so, please make sure that you like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe. We all know that in many cases, the algorithms are trying to keep both Second Amendment news and commentary, as well as conservative commentary, away from you. They don't want you to hear the truth. So the best way to make sure that you hear the truth, that you're alerted every time we go live, then make sure if you hit that button, you hit that notification button, then you'll be notified every time we go live, and you can participate in the live chat as the program is taking place. So do it now. How about now?
Do it to me, baby. Uh-huh, uh-huh.
All right, folks, it is news time. It is time to discuss the news of the day. In case you did not know, there is an election coming up, right? Yes, that is true. November 8th, there is an election, right? Or at least, well, in most places, there's an election leading up to it because it's early voting. In some cases, folks are already starting to receive their ballots in the mail. And Mike, there's some interesting news that is out, and that is that Republicans, well, are kicking butt. According to CNN, of all places, they are actually reporting that Republicans now hold a near historic lead on key midterm indicator. And that is, basically Gallup does a poll where they ask folks, they don't just ask folks, what are the most important issues to you, but who do you believe can best address those issues? And 48% of respondents on whatever their issue may be indicated that they believe that Republicans would best be able to address those particular issues, while only 37% of Democrats. Now, this is an 11-point lead in this particular statistic. And now they've been doing this for quite a while, right? And the only time in which Republicans have had a greater lead in this was 17%, and that was back in 1946. And at that time, Republicans actually wound up picking up 55 seats in the House of Representatives. So, Mike, this appears to be a very, very good indicator that things could be going well for Republicans in terms of controlling both houses of Congress come November.
Yes, very, very good indicator. Problem right now, folks, and we always tell you do your research, right? Is we got single source reporting, so it's coming from CNN of all folks. So when CNN tells me about a poll, I want to believe the opposite because I've seen their polls in the past. But if I believe the opposite about this one, it means that the Democrats are in the lead. So I don't know. This all seriousness. Yeah, this is a bunch of great signs. It breaks down the priority of individual beliefs that are in the poll. What do you want to see? Is it what's your major issue? So it tells you all about that. It talks about abortion. It looks, Craig, to me, it's legit. It's not like we see the polls on there and it just says this person's in the lead. This one actually breaks it down for us. So I want to give this one a little more confidence in it. And an 11-point lead, like you said, it's the first time in 76 years that Republicans have had that kind of lead running into the midterms.
Well, and keep in mind, they're reporting this. So this is not a CNN poll. This is a Gallup poll.
Yes.
It also in there, they also talk about a number, basically across the board, Republicans are leading in these polls. But this was the only one where they actually also broke it down according to issue, like what's your important issue, and then how do you believe, who do you trust more? Now, in the end, it's going to come down to individual races. But by the way, Mike, this is also the reason why the only thing they have, the only real issue that they have is to go after Donald Trump, is to keep trying to bring up Donald Trump. You notice even Stacey Abrams is shifting away from talking about abortion because it's not a hot button issue in this election, right? Even she now is talking about jobs and job creation. Stacey Abrams, of all people, the Marxist socialist Stacey Abrams is talking about, job and job creation. I don't see how, with the record the Democrats have had, in particular over the last couple of years, that they can claim anything relating to jobs or the economy.
Craig, they're just going back to the Trump thing. The problem here with the Democrats, with the liberals, is twofold when it comes to Donald Trump. One, he's not on the ballot right now.
Right.
He's just you could talk bad about him all you want. When you get to the booth, nobody's going Trump. Oh, right. I don't see it. I don't see it. The second part of that is, again, we've said this before. Every time they take shots at him, he just gets stronger.
Well, but there's a third one, and that is jobs in the economy are and the education and the Marxist indoctrination of our children. Donald Trump is on the right side of all of those. So if it is about Trump, then they're making their position even worse, because he's not the one that's trying to do all that. He's actually speaking out against it.
Well, I mean, that goes back to talking about the first one. That the policy. They are trying to hide their own policy by shifting blame to him,
Right.
because he's against their policy. So, that's par for the course. That's the original issue.
Right. Exactly. And by the way, one of those issues, moving on to our next topic, is there has been this influx, this real serious push to take. Well, it's both a sexualization of our children. It's in my opinion, it is partially the mutilization of our children, as well as a taking away of parental rights. But in places like California, where the woke left has really been pushing this idea of gender and gender identity, and they what they've done is they've made it even worse. And what they're doing is they're actually targeting children. And California has actually decided, passed a law, and the Governor Gavin Mussolini has signed it into law, basically making California a sanctuary state for child gender transition. Now, what does that mean? That basically means that in the state of California, if you want to come to California from another state, and that state has specific laws dealing with not allowing whether the medical transformation, the medical mutilization in some cases of children. We're talking children as young as 12 years old, giving them chemicals, doing surgery on them, mutilating their bodies in order to fit a perceived gender identity. One, they will not comply with any subpoenas or any requests from any other state dealing with this. They will not comply with arrest warrants from any other states. If basically someone has crossed state lines in order to violate the law, they will not comply with any of it. There have even been talks, and I do not see this in this bill. I know that at one point in this bill, they were actually going to be willing to pay the travel costs for kids to come to California in order to have these sorts of surgeries. Literally, Mike, what they're doing is they're trying to basically improve tourism in the state of California, once again, by inviting parents of or guardians of or adults. Now, once again, because it protects those adults even if they are not the custodial parents. It doesn't say that the person who's protected has to be the custodial parent. But if you have someone who brings a child into the state of California, it could be kidnapping. I mean, they're still going to be protected, and local law enforcement is not going to be allowed to comply with warrants or with subpoenas from other states.
Craig, I have a bold prediction for you. California is not going to survive the next 6 years, whether it be the next 2 years coming under a new Republican House and Senate or a Republican presidency 2 years from now. They're not going to survive. You've become Sodom and Gomorrah of our day. You are Rome about to fall. Your social policies now outweigh the input of finances and taxes that you have to support them. When the Senate and House go Republican, your funding that you get every day from the federal government to support your failing state and its failing programs is going to end. And no matter who becomes president at the Republican Party, that's going to end abruptly and nationally to just over 2 years from now. You don't survive. You've gone the way of extreme socialism, bordering on communism, and you're about to have your financial source cut off.
Well, I think that as we're seeing the stock market tumble, you're going to start to see the investment class is basically not going to be generating the amount of tax revenue that they have been generating. Believe it or not, the COVID-19, the COVID pandemic was very good for many in the investor class. And that's who Californians heavily rely upon when it comes to our budget dollars. This upcoming recession is not going to be good for them. It's not going to be good for Californians. And the people who are going to pay the price, I believe, will largely be the Democratic Party and the people of California. Now, the question is going to be, are they going to wake up? And will there be a voice in the state of California on the conservative side, on the right side, who can stand up and basically stand up against these folks? Because I think that California voters, I am still a believer that they may be slightly center left, but I still believe that they are closer to the center than the makeup of our current legislature. And I also, though, believe that one of the things that redistricting did was it put a lot more seats in the state legislature in play in the state of California. The challenge is, once again, do we have Republicans who are able and capable of stepping up and voicing an alternative perspective, not a we hate Democrats, but a we have a better idea of how to run this state. And I think that we could see Republicans writing, we could see a red wave in the state of California, maybe not in 2022, but in 24 and 26. So I really think that some Californians, the reasonable Californians, the ones that are left, are going to wake up once we start feeling the economic pinch.
As long as your current party is in power, it's never going to happen because they
completely agree.
They continue to let 500,000 illegal votes in your state every year. Listen, you want to know why you're losing money? You keep giving them money to buy their votes to keep voting those programs in. Hey,
well, okay, I will disagree with the 500,000 illegal votes in terms of that number. But I do believe that there are people who are voting in elections who should not be voting. I just don't necessarily agree with the number.
Well, your number of illegals was estimated at 2 million in your state last time I took a look.
Yes. So you're saying 25% of them are voting?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, but I think that's a tad bit high.
I think it's more.
I put it this way: I have not seen anything in media to support those. I've not seen anything to support those numbers. The 500,000 number.
I actually saw it higher, I think, during the last election, but
yeah,
I think it was 2 million.
I would definitely invite you to share that information with me because I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But the real issue that we have here in California is not that people are voting illegally. It's that, one, so many conservatives are leaving. But number two, we have a state party that fails once again to put up solid candidates who are really, truly conservative. Instead, they want to put up Democrat-light candidates. As long as we try to be like the Democrats, we will never, ever win because the attitude is, why would I vote for a Democrat light when I can have, full-blown Democrat, when I can go full-blown progressivism? I think that is our biggest problem in the state of California, is that we've not drawn those big, bold colors, the differences between us and them.
Yes, it's very true. You're right there.
Yeah, but that having been said, once again, folks, in Mike's statement about Sodom and Gomorrah, I got to be honest with you, I'm feeling it because seriously, folks, the wackiest of the wacky, the dumbest of the dumb, the weirdest of the weird, the sinfulness of the sin, it is happening in California. And the funny part is I know a lot of people who are Democrats who are like, yeah, no, I don't get it. But at the same time, they won't vote. They won't vote a different way because they haven't been presented with someone who will demonstrate to them that they are different and have the ability to govern. Anyway, that just my 2 cents.
Florida, we passed the law where you can't teach this nonsense, say these words in school. Yep. You can't breach that subject. It just passed its first or its last judicial hurdle here this week. Of course, it was challenged in lawsuits and they were thrown out. And yet California goes and does the exact opposite. I
And
mean,
there's a reason why the population in California is declining while the population in Florida is growing.
that's right.
It ain't a mystery, folks.
Yep.
The key has got to be this: is understand that it's the policies that these politicians keep passing. So if you keep putting in the same politicians, well, then you're going to get the same results.
Yeah,
Garbage in, garbage out, folks. Garbage in, garbage out.
that's how it works.
All right. Moving along. Now this is a good one. I am actually liking this. So there are not many businesses in the 2A community that are being as aggressive as is USCCA in the supporting of candidates who are pro Second Amendment. But USCCA in the first of its kind, the first time they've ever done this, in an election, USCCA's Political Action Committee, that's what PAC means, Political Action Committee means they've raised money or they put together money that they're spending in an election, but they're going on air in support of Second Amendment candidates. Now, we're not talking conservative candidates, right? We're not talking libertarian candidates. We're talking pro Second Amendment candidates. They are actually putting their money where their mouth is. Mike, I gotta say, I would love to see more of the major firearms related industries or companies actually doing this.
Yeah, and listen, USCCA has always kind of hovered around being on the policy side, and they've realized, like many others, they've had there was time to jump in. You have the NRA, which is kind of ineffective at the moment, right? And their ILA, the NRA ILA, the Legislative Affairs Branch, they would normally do this. They'd normally come out and put out the list of this is an NRA back candidate, this is not an NRA back candidate, what their ratings are from A to F. Their NRA is ineffective right now. We know that. So USCCA has stepped up. We know that. I think it's Don Jr. Remember, he formed a committee as well, or an organization as well, to help do this. So they're filling the gap, filling the void. Good on them. Good on Tim Schmidt there and his people to realize that and start putting out, this advice, these guides to people out there, so you can actually get good candidates, as well as the money they're putting behind the advertising for those candidates.
Oh yeah, and now, like I said, I wish that we had more industry folks who were doing more, once again, to promote the pro candidates, pro Second Amendment candidates. But, it is what it is. I'm just happy to see that this company's doing it. I'm hoping that it will be the first of several or of many, because quite frankly, the Second Amendment community or the industry has been lax in their support of Second Amendment candidates and on the issue. Not all of them. A lot of the smaller and mid-size tend to stand up for the Second Amendment. It's when they become the big behemoths that they start to become a little more corporate and a little less about liberty.
That's it.
Not saying, just saying.
He's got a point, folks.
Folks, there is a purge going on over at Facebook. Yeah, we already knew. They reported a while ago that they were going to actually be doing some layoffs because they forecasted or foresaw the upcoming economic downturn. And so as a part of what they're doing over at Facebook, they have requested, first they said they've asked across every department, they said identify about 15% of your staff that you would identify as, what did they call them, needing support, right? And so the belief is that by the way, they said they're going to be downsizing by about 15%. Well, gee, what does that mean? I'm guessing that means that some folks are going to be supported out of a job.
Yeah, and this is not something brand new. Zuckerberg brought this up 6 months ago, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
That the way the economy was going, this was going to happen, and that's it, here it is. And now all of a sudden, listen, this is the funny part, right? The ironic humor part is that now they're going to be calling him the devil as well. They're going to say that side of the straight and narrow is going to be over there saying he's mean as well. So yeah, they've said, listen, you let us know who here. I mean, if you had to go around the room right now and say who might have to go, and there you go, they're going. They stopped hiring 6 months ago, because they were continuing to grow. So he said this might come, and here it is. They're showing people the door.
Yeah. Well, and folks, once again, this is a sign of things to come. We've already seen numbers that came out yesterday showed that there's a severe tightening in the job market. And by the way, that's one of the things that they're saying. That is the one way in which we're going to start to see a decrease in inflation. Is they're saying, look, if it's going to change, we're going to see inflation start to decrease or stop or reduce. It's going to be we're going to see larger unemployment numbers, and when we see larger unemployment numbers, we're going to start to see corporate profits going down. We're going to start to see valuation of corporations going down. We're going to start to see property values going down. Folks, we are at the edge of an economic downturn, one that we foresaw coming. Hopefully it won't be as bad as other economic downturns, but it's the one way in which we're going to see inflation slow down. And just to be clear, this is all because of the drastic and massive overspending by the Biden administration, along with the reductions, or the reductions in fuel output, or the restrictions that have been placed on domestic acquiring of natural gas as well as oil. And by the way, that's all Joe Biden.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah. If you don't believe the government can have an impact on the cost of fuel, well, look at what California's doing. He signed, Governor Mussolini signed an executive order reducing the requirements on state refineries, basically allowing them to put out dirtier gas, which will basically they're believing is going to help decrease the cost. Once again, it's the policies, folks. Okay, let's move right along to the parting shots, and we've got a number of them that are going to be good. I don't know if you've heard, but Alec Baldwin is actually. It looks like there is going to be some charges that may be filed against Mr. Baldwin. He has tried to get out of being at least civilly responsible, but he's really the main executive producer of the film that he was in. Rust, where he wound up shooting 2, killing 1 with the same round, which he claimed he didn't have his finger on the trigger. He claimed he never pulled the trigger. Well, obviously, people in the industry are questioning that. In particular, in an appearance on, people in the past have always had issues with him. Here's one example. You want to read this one?
Grover nervously checks the room for firearms before his scene with Alec Baldwin.
Folks, this one is hilarious.
Hilarious.
All right. Now, also, and this is probably in more recent news, President Biden has actually decided to combine 2 of his seminal issues. One is climate change and dealing with disasters that he says, natural disasters that he says are the result of climate change, as well as providing equity, right? So in that, Joe Biden has announced, or at least he announced, that he is vowing that the next hurricane that hits the U.S. will be named after a woman of color.
Yes, no more of this uptight white guy names, for hurricanes like Ian.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get a woman of color, put their name.
Shaquanda. The next one will likely be named Shaquanda.
It's a Shanae.
Shanae. That is funny. Okay, this last one.
That's from the Babylon Bee, by the way. The Babylon Bee is where that.
Yes, that is from the Babylon Bee. All right, this last one is, and I think it speaks to kind of the shifting politics of our time. There are many of you out there who think that you are moderate and are confused when the left refers to you as a right winger, right? And I think this next one pretty much explains how that happened. So it's a meme. It's got kind of four little squares here. It starts off. It says how the middle became the right. And you've got a person who's standing here on the line right in the middle. And you've got a person on the right and a person on the left. And it says both sides make some good points. That's what the person in the middle is saying. And then the person on the left shoves the guy in the middle. Then you've got the guy on the right looking at the guy, the middle and the middle guy, moderate, and saying, "You all right?" He's like, "Yeah, thanks." And then you've got the guy on the left saying, "Why are you siding with the bad guys?" I think that pretty much explains it all.
They're forcing people on the other team. They're pushing people on the other team. The people from their own team, not just those in the middle, are leaving their team.
If you dare spout
key points,
if you dare put a toenail on the other side, if you dare agree that even if the other side, that someone on the right has a point, might have a good point, or if you decide to even be civil to someone that is on the right, then you are considered a right winger and therefore must be judged and must be excommunicated. And that's how the progressive left does it.
That's how they do it. Just like that. So.
Let's go ahead and move along and get on to, before we leave, let's give one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yep. Let's say hey to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. Reach out to them if you're looking for a new barrel for your AR. The California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Make sure you reach out to them and help them any way they can. And of course, if you want some awesome web gear, tactical gear, combat gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Please take a second. Follow the links in the description to this program. Check them out. Spend some money with them. Or even if you don't spend money with them, just make sure you tell them the guys over at The Rundown sent you. That's going to be it for a hump day, at least for a hump day here. We're going to go and I'm going to go chill and start my weekend, or at least attempt to, and have a good time. But we will see you tomorrow on Thirsty Thursday.
See you then.